ladies and gentlemen, to It Came from DC Comics here on Reaction and Review. Tonight, guys, I'm checking out a movie from 2009. That movie is Superman, Batman, Public Enemies. Now, this film is based on the first arc from the Superman, Batman comic books, and I've actually read that comic, and I honestly thought that the book was really solid. I'm not entirely sure how, though, they're going to take, those like 5 or 6 issues of the comic and compress it down to an hour and 7 minutes, but I am about to find out. Honestly, guys, I don't know if this is going to be a decent adaptation. I don't know if they're going to just if they're just going to take off and do their own thing. I am really curious, and I am certainly hoping for it to be good. And the only way I'm going to find out if this thing is any good at all is if I shut up and I push play, and I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Superman, Batman, Public Enemies. Okay, guys, now, I honestly am not totally up on all of my, Superman lore and everything, but I do not remember fucking Metallo being able to shapeshift his arms into weapons. I do not remember that ever being a part of his character. And the fact that he can do it here, I guess to me, it just feels kind of weird. Alright, guys, this honestly feels, kind of sad. I'm a longtime DC fan. I could maybe name about half of the villains who just showed up in this shot. I honestly thought I could name more of them, but no, I really only know about half of these. That makes me feel a little bit like less of a nerd. Alright, guys, I have kind of a stupid, question, and it just kind of sort of dawned on me. Why the hell is Lex injecting kryptonite directly into his blood? It has been known in the comics for decades, especially by Luthor, that kryptonite is fucking radioactive. Luthor has gone through at least 2 fucking bodies because the fucking radiation from fucking kryptonite has ravaged his body. Why the fuck would he inject kryptonite into his bloodstream? And that's something that I don't even remember being in the comic this thing's based on, which tells me that it's something that they added to this, and goddammit, I don't even fucking know why. Well, guys, that was Superman, Batman, Public Enemies. Let's shut that off. Okay. Wow. Where to start? Alright, earlier I kind of went off on a little bit of a tangent because they had a plot point about Lex injecting himself with they had a plot point with Lex injecting himself with kryptonite, and I explained why that was an incredibly stupid thing. And I said that I did not remember that being a point in the comic. So as the movie was going, I decided to look it up, and sure as shit, he actually did at one point in the comic mention that he was injecting himself with a mixture of venom and fucking synthetic kryptonite. It still doesn't make the point any fucking less stupid. But then again, we also have to talk about the fact that this thing's based on a book by Jeff fucking Loeb, and Jeff Loeb has a bad habit of writing incredibly dumb shit into his comics. Now, speaking of a whole lot of that dumb shit, at least they cut most of the idiocy that was in the original comic. So I do have to thank them for doing that. But also, as they were trimming things out of the original comic and trying to fill it with some slightly better stuff, they also wound up cutting something which honestly is kind of sort of a detriment to the film. You see, because I'm just going to give a small spoiler here. Toyman winds up being it's a new Toyman, winds up being the one who is able to help with the whole issue involving the gigantic kryptonite fucking meteor that's barreling towards, Earth. And in the comics, there are constant references to him, because Batman knows about this kid, Luthor knows about this kid. And all this other fun shit. However, instead of getting those references, we get one mention we get one mention around the start of the final act about this fucking kid, and then suddenly, boom, he's here. It really just sort of felt like they kind of rushed it because they didn't bother to foreshadow him at all. And that to me kind of felt like a little bit of a waste there. Beyond that, though, writing here is still really solid. Beyond the fact that they cut out almost every prior mention of this new fucking toy man until he shows up, and still opting to keep in the stupid bullshit with Lex shooting up with venom, with fucking venom and kryptonite. Beyond those two little problems, the movie here is still really solid, and mind you, none of those problems are going to be noticeable if you've never read the comic. So that actually is just me bitching because of shit that was in the comic that they either kept, or in the case of the mentions of Toyman, they didn't keep. So if you've never read the comic this thing's based on, then you're probably not going to see any problems, and that is awesome because you'll then get a lot more enjoyment out of this film. However, though, I will say that the writing, what is here, is still really strong. Because we have here a really interesting story. It is a really fascinating thought of Batman and Superman essentially being fugitives and having to fight off waves and waves of superheroes and supervillains while trying to combat the threat of a gigantic fucking meteor barreling towards Earth. All of that is cool, and it really does work for the film's rather short, runtime of 1 hour and 7 minutes. It totally works. So yeah, guys, writing here is really solid. Acting here is really good. However, though, that is to be expected when about half of your cast are people who came back from the old fucking DC animated shows. So we have like Luthor played by Clancy Brown. We have Superman played by Tim Daly, and so on. We have all these actors coming back, and they have played these characters quite often, and they know how to play them well. We also have other people coming in, such as we had God, who the hell was all in this thing? LeVar fucking Burton's in here for a really small bit. And the cast here, guys, is really competent, and the cast turns in a fantastic showing, which is kind of normal for almost anything and everything DC based. So yes, guys, acting here is really solid. Animation here is really good, but I do have to comment on CG, because this thing utilizes CG mainly for vehicles. I'm talking things like Luthor's fucking limo, and things such as that. And not only do the vehicles stand out, but I want to comment on Luthor's limos, because those things really stood out, because when they were rendered in CG, they came out incredibly boxy and ugly and fucking ugly looking, which really looks weird when you happen to consider the fact that then in the few shots when they actually had to hand draw the fucking limo, it actually has curves and contours and things that aren't on the boxy CG limos you see in every other shot. Now, once more, that honestly is a minor fucking thing, and it takes up all of one scene, but it's still worth mentioning because it really could have been done a hell of a lot better, and it came off feeling really cheap. Our sound mix here is really good. Our score here is awesome. Ultimately, guys, this thing here is good, but it seriously is not the best DC animated thing I've seen. It is still, though, totally worth at least fucking renting. I'm not totally sure if I would recommend a purchase. However, I also can say that a whole lot of the bonus features on here are probably worth the purchase. All by themselves. Because, guys, as is sort of the way with a whole lot of these DC animated movies, the bonus features include a ton of episodes from other DC animated shows. And in this instance, you get 4 episodes of, it was Justice League Unfucking Limited, and I believe 2 episodes of Superman. And that is just totally awesome. And that all by itself would make this thing absolutely worth buying, on top of the fact that the actual film itself is certainly decent. So I could probably recommend a purchase, especially if you can find this thing like really cheap. I'm talking like $10 or less. By all means, then pick it up. It is totally worth it. Now, Superman, Batman, Public Enemies came off the Amazon wish list. The person who sent it in was Ariel, not a girl. You can find his YouTube channel at youtube.com/user/TVB Robotnik Returns. Ariel, not a girl, I thank you. I was really curious about, this one. I was really hoping that they would have fixed the problems which were in the comic, and in many cases they did, and then it kind of reminded me of a really shitty point I tried to block out of my memory from the comic. But that honestly was not your fault. That actually was just the fault of the people who made this thing still fucking insisting on Lex shooting up on fucking kryptonite for reasons. Anyway. Once more, guys, that is youtube.com/user/TVB Robotnik Returns. Now, I mentioned the 6 episodes on this disc, the 4 episodes of Justice League Unlimited, the 2 episodes of Superman. I am going to watch those right now because, goddammit, it has been a long time since I've watched Justice League Unlimited, and that show was fucking amazing. Anyway, guys, with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.